Monday. Hey, I hope you had a great week. And if you are living probably anywhere outside of Florida, it has been a cold, very cold last several days. And so stay warm, stay safe. Know a lot of just crazy weather that is going on across the country. And here in South Florida, we were kidding. It's like, wow, it got into the 60s. And so the struggle is real. So, hey, so today on Mindset Monday, what I want to talk about is really kind of a quote that to where I want to get this started. And so I have this that sits on my desk. And so it's this little box. My wife gave this to me many years ago of all these different quotes. I love quotes. So each day I pull a card and then basically there's a new quote on there. And so today's quote is by Anne Frank, and it says, "How wonderful it is that no one need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world." And why that got me thinking is that also today is we celebrate the life of Dr. Martin Luther King. Today is what we call MLK Day, and it got me thinking about his legacy and a quote from him. And he's known for so many different quotes, but probably one that we don't probably hear that often is his quote on it says, and I'll just read this to you, is it says, "Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?" And he spoke that to an audience in Montgomery, Alabama, in 1957. And it got me thinking also about this quote from Anne Frank is, what are we doing for others? And I say that because we live in such a society that seems like that it's, we live in an instantaneous society. And also sometimes, unfortunately, and myself included in, is we're a self-absorbed society of like, okay, how does this affect me? What about me? And so my challenge today to you, and it is to myself, is that what what are we doing for others? What are we doing for, our community, our country, right? The world in general is so many times, you hear this is like, well, somebody should do something about that. Right. And a lot of times is that we do that thinking that it's somebody else should do it when maybe it should be us to take one step to be able to do something, just one little thing different for somebody else. Um, I'm a I'm a big Denzel Washington fan, and so for many of you that follow Denzel, the Equalizer movies and the Equalizer one movie, and there's a quote in there inside of the movie if you've seen it, if you haven't seen it, but he's having a conversation with a friend of his, and so the premise is that she asked him, she's like, "Why did you do this for this young girl?" He did some things, and if you've seen the movie, and it did some things, and he just said, "Because I was able to." And it was interesting is that because he had an ability, he had a set of skills that he could be able to use and to be able to help this person. And so, what I would challenge all of us today, as we start this new year, right? We're 2 weeks into January, is to be looking at that as like, you know, what can I do? Who can I help that I may have a skill set or something that I could do, and maybe one little thing. It could be is when you're out going on a walk in your neighborhood is pick up trash that you see along the way. It's your neighborhood, it's your city. Pick that up. Someone else that may be struggling that you're like, hey, I'm really good at that. Whether that's in business, it could be like, hey, I'm really great at Excel spreadsheets, and someone that I may know may be struggling with that. And I know that sounds simple. I know it's like, but here's the thing. I think the biggest challenge that we all have, and myself included, is because we think it has to be like this grandiose thing. Like we're not, most of us, 99.9% of us are never going to have the influence that Dr. King had. Just not. But what influence that we do have, or what small thing that we can take that we could actually just share that with someone else. And sometimes that's just a word of encouragement, right? When somebody is like reaching out, like, man, hey, how are you doing? Maybe that someone is struggling and going through something, whether that's a health related business, whatever that the case may be. What's one small thing? What's one small step, right? That you can do for somebody else? not yourself, that you would get maybe no actual benefit from. But I will tell you this, when you do help somebody else, there is a huge benefit to yourself in it. And there's just that feeling of like, hey, I did something for someone else and it was helpful for them. And then that person pays it forward. Because I believe that if we all were better at doing this world that we live in, I 100% would be a better place for all of us in this. And so I just wanted to share that with you, just with what today represents, and just this quote, and so all of those things, and it gets me thinking. This is why I call it Mindset Monday, right? Is to get us thinking in a different way, get us thinking outside of ourselves. There's a wonderful quote that I use all the time from Zig Ziglar, and he would say, "Is like, hey, if I help enough people get what they want, I will eventually get what I want." And I 100% believe that. 100%. In almost 60 years of living on this earth and running businesses for over 30 years, is that if we focus outwardly on others, how do we bring better value to our people if we run a business, or if we work in any job, is like, how do I show up as the best version of myself? How can I help others get to where that they want to be? Because people have helped me get to where I am. So that's what I would challenge you. That's what I would encourage you today, as you're just kind of reflecting on that, as you're, hopefully still working on your goals that you've set, and you're going to be able to do that. But hey, who's one person who comes to mind, just one person today? And that may just be a text of encouragement out to them, and just saying, hey, you know what? Hey, thinking about you today. I hope you have an awesome day, because you just never know just what those words will mean to someone. And it only takes just a second. But the issue is, we have to slow down. We have to get out of our self, right, in order to do that. So that's what I've got for you today, as we celebrate the life of Dr. Martin Luther King today, and going forward. Of it is like, hey, how do we make it? How do we make it better? So thank you as always. Thank you for watching. Go out, make it an awesome day. Be thinking of others. Help somebody else. And somebody else, I guarantee, will help you. We'll see everybody next week. Have a great week. Stay warm for those of you that don't live in Florida, and we'll talk to you soon.